Hey gang, it's Dave Murray, the big guy at Mayniax Branding, and today I want to talk about that thing that all entrepreneurs fear, that thing no one wants to hear. We got to be patient. It's about patience, it's about perseverance, it's about persistence, it's about all those synonyms that basically mean you're not going to succeed overnight. So instead of really getting into craziness and trying to hit you with some bullet points, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what it's been like for Vanessa and I as we built Mayniax Branding. So, here we go. We started out as a company called Good Stuff Studios in 2010. We started in July of 2010. And what we did there was we were graphic designers, we were illustrators, we were product photographers because that's the stuff we had done previously where we first met. And so that's what we were doing. It was clearly a time when we didn't know so much about branding. And we just kept going, kept going. We weren't happy. People kept wanting us to design things that we knew weren't going to help them. And it was a struggle. And it was hard to really gain any traction. Vanessa convinced me that we needed to go out and do a lot of networking. So we ended up joining some networking groups and hanging out and meeting a lot of people around town. And that did help some. There's no doubt that networking is a big deal when it comes to your arsenal of tactics that you need to do to try and grow your brand. But just because you're networking, just because you're out there and talking to a lot of people and making things happen that way, doesn't mean that you're necessarily happy with what you're doing. And we weren't happy with what we were doing. We're great graphic designers. We really understand it. We're really good product photographers. And I myself, my degree was in painting and drawing, so I'm a pretty fair illustrator as well. But none of that was really making us happy. We weren't happy with it because what we were doing wasn't helping anyone. So now we're looking at July of 2010 to somewhere in 2013. We basically spent 2.5 to 3 years trying to do this, even though it wasn't really making us happy. And we didn't know much about branding, so we weren't exactly building the brand the way that we do now, obviously, right? And so we spent a lot of time in there trying to make something happen that really we shouldn't have bothered happening. So don't make that mistake, even though, it's a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance, and we learned a lot, but make sure you're building around something that makes you happy, that's something you actually believe in and want to fight for. So it was around 2013 that Vanessa and I, we both kind of get mixed up in our story, but she says I brought up the idea of branding. I thought she did, but either way, she's the one that really pushed us to look into it more. And so we read the stuff, we read the literature, and it just clicked. It just made sense. And we knew with branding, we could really help a lot of people in a substantial way. We were really excited about it. But, like I said, that was about 2013, and it wasn't until July of 2014 that Mayniax Branding took off. So at this point, we're looking at 4 years that we've spent trying to persevere, persist, all that stuff, to just start finally making something happen. Now keep in mind, for those first 3 years, we didn't know what we were doing branding wise, and most people don't, and it's not their fault, it wasn't our fault. People always talk about marketing, but they don't talk about the most important part, which is the brand. So when I look back at that, those first 3 years, until we really switched over to Mayniax Branding, which is more like 4 years or so, was a waste of time. I mean, we learned a lot, so I guess I can't totally say that, but it wasn't like we were really building anything at the time. Now, since in July of 2014, when we started Mayniax Branding, we've started doing it right. We understand that we need to fight for something real, something we both really genuinely believe in, and that, of course, is entrepreneurship, because let's face it, if entrepreneurs are fighting for something that makes them happy, other people will join the fight, and they'll all be happy going for the same goal and trying to make the same things happen, instead of just going to an old school job, like there's plenty of them out there now, where they show up, collect their paycheck, go home, and are miserable, and sit there and always look forward to Fridays, and never look forward to what kind of awesome fun can be had on Mondays because, oh crap, I gotta go to work just so I can collect a paycheck. So that's why we think entrepreneurs are it. They're who we fight for. But I digress, of course, because I tend to do that. At this point, it's been about 2.5 years that we've had Mayniax branding up and running. And when we started Mayniax, we knew what we were doing. We were really branding correctly. We already had some connections from Good Stuff. So, we've been out and about a little more. And what has happened in the last few months is we're getting a lot more requests for proposals. We're getting a lot more people trying to contact us. I have a marketing company that's contacted us that wants to help us for almost nothing because they understand that if they're marketing a brand, most of the work's done for them and it'll just make them look good. So, it's really cool when you're doing things correctly. But again, we wasted 4 years as Good Stuff, not understanding how to brand. And now we're in 2.5 years as Mayniax, understanding it, and people are coming to us. They're starting to see what we're fighting for. They want to help out. People who, if we want to help change the world, we're meeting with people that are sitting back saying, man, I want to help people build homeless shelters. Or, I want to help kids in high school. Or I want to provide healthier options for people to eat when they're at work. We're getting to meet with all kinds of people that are genuinely trying to make the place better because we've been branding ourselves properly for 2.5 years. But it took a large majority of that 2.5 years before we started gaining real traction. And at this point, people, like I say, are coming to us. So the idea here is this. What I really want to get to, I suppose, is you do need patience. There's a formula. I can't remember who it was, but there are people that say it takes about 2 to 5 years. I'd like to pretend the first 4 years didn't happen, so we're on 2.5 years, and this is when people are starting to come to us. This is when we're getting a little more popular, gaining a lot more traction in the area. So I just wanted you to understand that when people talk about patience, they're accurate. They're telling you the truth. Things do not happen overnight. The only chance you have of anything happening overnight is if you have the next wheel or the next Facebook and you have a ridiculous marketing budget. That's it. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to let you know kind of what it's been like for us so far, that it's taken about 6.5 years for us to start gaining traction, although I really do like to pretend those first 4 didn't happen. And it's been hard. It's been tough. And there's been a lot of fighting, a lot of really pushing through when it was hard. People, Vanessa and I were just like, this is tough. I don't know if this is going to happen, even though what we were doing was making us happy. And you're going to have those days, and you got to fight through them because it's going to be because of you, because of entrepreneurs, that the world gets better. So keep up the good fight. Have fun. Get nuts. Remember that tomorrow's a better day, and just keep pushing through. Keep persisting. Keep up with that patience. And take it easy. Have a terrific Mayniax Monday. And of course, stay gutsy, gang.